All right, let's get into it. Today, we're digging deep, literally, into Louis Sachar's classic novel, Holes. It's this incredible story about curses, fate, friendship, and, yeah, a whole lot of digging in the middle of the Texas desert.
You know, the book kicks off with one of the best opening lines ever. It perfectly sets the scene with this incredible irony. This is not a summer camp, and there's definitely no lake. We're talking about a dry, baked, flat wasteland where it's 95 degrees in the shade, assuming you can even find any shade to begin with.
And that's the big question, isn't it? Why on earth is this kid, Stanley Yelnats, being shipped off to this place? And his punishment is to dig one hole, 5 feet deep, 5 feet wide, every single day. It's bizarre, it's backbreaking, and it makes you wonder, what is really going on at Camp Green Lake?
Okay, so let's set the scene here. Our hero, Stanley Yelnats, is on a bus heading straight into the middle of nowhere, about to start his sentence at a place that couldn't be more different from its name, Camp Nowhere.
This place, it's not just hot, it feels like it's actively trying to kill you. I mean, you've got the brutal heat, you've got rattlesnakes, scorpions, and then there's the Warden, who we'll get to. But the real nightmare fuel, the absolute worst thing out there, the yellow-spotted lizard. If one of those gets you, well, it's a slow, painful, and guaranteed death. Game over.
So, what's the official story they're selling? Camp Green Lake is a juvenile correctional facility. The whole idea is that you take a bad boy, you make him dig holes in the hot sun all day, and poof, he'll build character. Right. But as we're about to see, building character has absolutely nothing to do with what's really happening here. So let's talk about Stanley himself. How did he even end up in this mess? Well, for him, it's kind of a 1-2 punch of bad luck. There's the crime he didn't actually commit, and then there's the family curse that he is 100% sure is behind it all. So the crime that landed him here? Stealing a pair of sneakers. And not just any sneakers, mind you. These belong to the famous baseball player Clyde "Sweet Feet" Livingston. The story is just wild. The shoes literally fell out of the sky from an overpass and bonked him right on the head. And of course, who's going to believe that? It is the definition of being in the wrong place at the absolute worst time. But see, in the Yelnats family, nothing is ever just bad luck. Oh no. Whenever something goes wrong, they know exactly who to blame. It all comes back to one guy, his no-good, dirty, rotten, pig-stealing great-great-grandfather. He's the one who kicked this whole mess off with a promise he never kept. And this is where it all started. Way, way back, Stanley's ancestor Ilya was head over heels for this girl named Myra. To him, she was just beautiful. But his friend, the very wise Madame Zeroni, saw right through it. Her take? Myra's head was, and I quote, as empty as a flower pot. Ouch. She tried to warn him, but, he was totally smitten. So to help him win Myra's hand, Madame Zeroni offers him a deal. It's this whole strange ritual with a piglet and a magical mountain stream. The instructions were super specific, but the most important part was the promise Elia made in return. After it was all over, he had to carry her up the mountain. Well, long story short, Elia gets his heart broken, hops on a boat to America, and completely forgets that last crucial step. He never carried Madame Zeroni up the mountain. And just like that, he cursed his entire family line to generations of bad luck. And that brings us right back to the present. Stanley gets to camp and is thrown into the mix with the boys of Tent D. This is his new life now. A world with its own nicknames, its own weird rules, and a pecking order you learn really, really fast.
The daily routine is just grueling. Every day, same thing. Dig one hole, 5 feet deep, 5 feet across. Simple, right? But here's the kicker. The rule also says if you find anything interesting, you have to report it to the Warden. And that little detail, that's the first clue that this isn't about punishment. They are definitely looking for something out there in the dirt.
So, who's in Stanley's new crew? You've got X-Ray, he's the small but undisputed leader of the pack. Then there's Armpit, Squid, Magnet, and Zigzag. And then there's Zero. He's the quietest kid at camp, the one nobody really pays attention to. But he might just be the one who sees more than anybody else.
For weeks, it's just digging and more digging. Dirt, sun, blisters, repeat. But then one day, everything changes. The true purpose of Camp Green Lake is about to be unearthed.
So Stanley's digging, just another shovelful, when his shovel hits something that isn't rock. Clink, it's metallic. He digs it out, brushes off the dirt, and there it is. A small gold tube, no bigger than his finger. And when he looks closer, at the flat bottom of the tube, he sees an engraving. It's an outline of a heart with the initials KB etched inside. Stanley knows right away, this isn't just a piece of trash. This is important. This is a clue.
Now Stanley's no fool. He knows how things work at camp, so instead of turning in the tube himself, he gives it to X-Ray, the leader. The plan is for X-Ray to find it the next morning and claim the reward, which is a day off. It's a strategic move, a way to get on the good side of the guy in charge.
Sure enough, the next day, X-Ray presents the tube. And for the very first time, the Warden shows up in person. She's this tall, imposing, red-haired woman who just radiates authority. And the way she gets so intensely interested in that tiny gold tube, it confirms everything. This is what she's been looking for all along.
And we find out just how dangerous she is, like immediately. When one of the counselors, Mr. Sir, gets on her bad side, the Warden reveals the secret ingredient in her nail polish, rattlesnake venom. And, she adds, it's only toxic while it's wet. Then she strikes him across the face. The message could not be any clearer. Do not cross her.
So finding that tube really shakes things up at camp. But the real shift for Stanley, the real game changer, it doesn't come from finding gold. It comes from an unexpected act of kindness that's about to forge a powerful alliance.
So a bag of sunflower seeds gets stolen, and the empty bag ends up in Stanley's hole. He could easily rat out the kid who really did it, but he doesn't. He takes the fall, facing the counselor's wrath, all to protect another boy.
Stanley's not expecting anything for it. But the next day, he gets out to his spot, and his hole is already half dug. It was Zero. The quietest kid in camp repaid Stanley's sacrifice with a silent act of solidarity. Zero's kindness inspires Stanley to offer one back. He offers to teach Zero how to read, and they strike a deal, right there in the dirt. Zero will help Stanley dig for an hour each day, and Stanley will teach him the alphabet. It's the beginning of a real friendship, built in the most unlikely of places.
And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Stanley's family was cursed because of a broken promise, an act of selfishness. But now, here he is, forming a bond with Zero that's based on mutual sacrifice and kindness. It leaves you with this one big question. In a place that's defined by cruelty and punishment, could a simple act of friendship actually be powerful enough to break a curse and finally fill in all the holes of the past?